need to quiet this thing down. Hi, Karen.
Utilize what you can and move forward.
That's what I figured when I called you. It doesn't really expose anything, yeah. That's smart. Especially if everything went through
It's going pretty good, Nick. Happy New Year.
How's your Christmas? Happy New Year.
You know, it was too darn short. I took the time off, went up north. I had to come down one day to do some business, and I probably went right back. Then I hated leaving.
Right? I want to stay up. Good for you.
It's like outside now. It's like that, like every day there.
Is it?
Yeah, so you just go out and get 2 or 3 inches, and
Yeah.
where are we gonna get tomorrow?
Yeah, right.
So, you know about transfer over there?
Yeah, you guys are gonna have a special land use transfer. You already granted one.
Yeah.
The applicant is here. When that time comes, we'll address that.
I'll put that on your C.
Yep, on the agenda, it's late agenda item. B?
I've got,
No, not B.
Number B?
item B.
B or C?
B, both.
D. D, new business.
See, I'm on top of it. I'm on top of
Okay,
it.
sorry.
You're
I need to grab one of them.
Just love.
Structure changes.
Hey, how you doing?
Transfer, yeah. You wanna do that one when it comes? Well. That's
No, it's like,
the example of what the one was.
Gotcha.
So I'll just leave that, yeah,
it's just my
because that's where the ambulance space is.
Okay, I'm looking at that clock, so 7 o'clock,
That's
let's call
good.
the meeting order. And
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Natalie, roll call, please.
Roll call, Dan Miller.
Here.
Tom Wise.
Here.
Ann Derderian.
Present.
Phil Bellinger. Nick Holden.
Here.
Lance Gould.
Present.
George Nash.
Present. Okay, before we move right along here, we're gonna have to add an extra little item in here, for item B, under new business.
And we're going to take
Yeah.
Mickey's and put that first, or just
No,
leave it?
let's run it
Okay.
like it is.
All right,
That's the way,
all right,
I think it might work a little better.
okay. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of, section B under new business for the SLU transfer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now, I got a motion to approve the agenda as presented and shook all up, so.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I did it already. It's the minutes.
Oh, excuse me, the minutes,
Approval of the minutes.
the previous minutes.
Yes.
Yeah,
October
October 8th.
October 8th.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the planning commission, meeting of October 8th, 2025.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, public comments. For items not scheduled on this agenda.
Karen Pacheco, still Village of Metamora. So as I was re-listening to the October meeting, which is the last meeting you had months ago for this commission, I got reminded of some things and I had some questions. You know, you're kind of doing your year-end review and you're planning for this next year. You've got your goals. You know, we went over last year and we went over goals from this year and a bunch of them never happened. I was reviewing them this afternoon. So there was no master plan review. That was one of your goals for 2025. That didn't happen. No one even brought it up but me. And you know, if I missed it somewhere, why was that idea dropped? And actually, Ann specifically said that there was going to be a master plan review with the idea in mind of keeping the Superfund site, taking that into account, and what that might do to homes around that area, as well as draw those poisonous chemicals out. None of that happened, and yet you guys, you know, missed 6 months of meetings. So, you know, it's just a question in my mind: what are you all doing as a board? And you know, it took 18 months to get through the sign ordinance changes, and there was a lot of self-congratulations that you guys got through that. Right, I know a lot about document review and research and all that kind of stuff, and I can understand 3-4 months. 18 is really long. And you guys have big zoning books, big ordinance books that you should be going through. And seeing, you know, just last night, Dryden went through their blight ordinance and passed a new blight ordinance. What are you guys doing? You know, again, 6 months. I would love to hear what each of you has done in the past year to educate yourselves. What other planning commission meetings have you gone to? Have you even watched, you know, I post a bunch of them on YouTube. Have you watched them there? Would love to hear all the trainings that you've been to, what you're doing to further yourselves as professionals in your professional conduct, because that's been a question this year as well. The joint meeting that was a goal for last year, that never came up. So I appreciate your work in our community, but I ask you to take it seriously and really make this a professional board, because Mayfield's been sued and lost their suit, their planning commission lost their suit. Oregon Township had a big suit that they're in the hole for a whole bunch of money about. So this is a very important job you have, and I hope you're doing everything you can to do a good job at it. Thank you.
One comment. This board does not set policy for the company. We serve there.
But you review and recommend.
Yes, we do. And I think we do a pretty damn good job. Okay. Public? Yeah. Anybody else in the public? First thing, item A is special land use review, lead transportation, storage, transfer, and trucking terminals. Now, we don't have our planners here tonight, so.
Yeah, so in case anybody didn't hear me, the planner called me about 5 o'clock. He said the roads, the snow, he drives a Mazda car, and his boss, I told him to come on up, leave now, and I'll wait for him. And he called me back a little while and said his boss doesn't want him to take that risk. So the planner is not available this evening.
There's a lot to go with this.
Yes.
But I'm here, if you have anything,
Yeah.
we can go through the planner's
Well,
report,
we can hear from the applicant.
and the applicants are here.
If you want to try to enlighten us some.
What would you, like to hear from us? I guess we turned in our permit application. Our main goal here was, before we did any sort of engineering, civil planning, was just to see if
if this would fit within the ordinance, to build this, to bring our company into Metamora. And if that got through the special land use, then we would proceed with the rest of the regulations that need to be done, any sort of engineering and approvals. But we wanted to get the approval for the special land use prior to putting that much dedication.
As I've read through it, I can see a lot of spots that could be very troublesome. But, and I'll let the board comment whatever they want to comment on the same subject. So, there's a lot of questions that we're not gonna get any answer to tonight, but I can see. Yeah.
Sir, you're Mr. Dabrowski, just so
I am not, I'm, Mr. Jovanovich, I'm an officer of Lead Transportation. Mr. Dabrowski's out of town.
Could you tell me again what your name is, sir?
Rich Jovanovich, Jovanovich.
Thank you.
And I was reading through the notes, on the packet that, Mr. Kelly had sent, and at the end where it says staff findings, and it said, based upon the information provided in the packet, it is our recommendation that the planning commission approve the request of special land use permit from Neil Dabrowski with conditions. And then it has the conditions listed, for submitting the site plan, approval for that, and then the applicant provide a traffic impact statement subject to review through MDOT and LCRC. I don't know if there's anything else that we needed to consider on this.
May I make a comment?
Yeah.
About
Very good.
the, additions to allowing something like this to go on before. We don't do that anymore. Everything has to be finished and completed before we approve it. So, you know, there's not gonna be any conditions, because we've been bitten a few times with conditions. So this planning board will not do that. I wanna read the special land use descriptions here. The proposed special land use shall be of such a location, size, and character that it will be in harmony with the appropriate and orderly development of the surrounding neighborhood and or vicinity and applicable regulations of the zoning district in which it's to be located. The proposed use shall not be a nature that will make vehicular and pedestrian traffic no more hazardous than normal for the district involved, taking into consideration vehicular turning movements in relation to routes of traffic flow, proximity in relationship to intersections, adequacy of site distances, location off and on access to off-street parking, and provisions for pedestrian safety. The location, size, intensity, site, layout, and periods of operation of any such proposed use shall be designed to eliminate any possible nuisance emanating therefrom, which might be noxious to the occupants of any other nearby permitted uses, whether by reasons of dust, noise, fumes, vibration, smoke, or lights. Proposed use shall be such that the proposed location and height of building or structures and location, nature, and height of walls, fences, landscaping will not interfere with or discourage the appropriate development and use of the adjacent land and buildings or unreasonably affect their value. The proposed use shall relate harmoniously with the physical and economic aspects of adjacent land use as regards prevailing shopping habits, convenience of access by prospective patrons, continuity of development, and the need for particular services and facilities in specific areas of the township. The proposed use is necessary for the public convenience at the proposed location. The proposed use is so designed, located, planned, and to be operated that the public health safety and welfare will be protected. The proposed use shall not cause substantial injury to the value of the other property in the neighborhood in which is to be located and will not be detrimental to existing and or other permitted land uses in the zoning district. I just wanted to refresh everybody on those requirements, the general requirements. I have that.
Did you, Mr. Zoning Administrator, Joe Israel,
Yes, sir.
look through it to the extent of noticing anything or seeing anything that you think?
So I've had conversation, that's a good question, thank you. I've had conversation with both Ben Keller from Rowe and then our new guy Noah. And what they're basically saying is without a full site plan, which would cover all the requirements for screening, fencing, blocking from other adjacent parcels, and the biggest thing is the access on the Dryden Road. When they seen the pictures of the heavy haulers and the long trailers, their first concern is the trailer is longer than the adjacent driveway that now gets into McDonald's and the Ace Hardware that's going in there. So they were kind of concerned about that. They asked me, you know, what I thought and why you couldn't go off M24. And I told them that, you know, an M24 would have to be another option they could look into. But I think on the M24 side, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, the broker is here too. You know, I think there's a big ditch there, or a big hole there in order to access the M24. You know, now ideally, you know, M24 would be a no-brainer, a win-win-win, because you get right onto the state highway. And, you know, the state may require a deceleration lane or an acceleration lane or something along them lines. So that was the planner's biggest objection, and I wouldn't say objection because they did put a staff finding on a recommendation for the applicant to provide a traffic impact statement. And they gave an out there, and then they gave another one about, you know, the site plan. So my interpretation of everything that I've been through and what I heard, and also speaking with both the applicants on it, you know, the trucking terminal is allowed as a special land use. That's something that this board has the option to say yea or nay. And it is zoned properly with the special land use granted that they could operate their trucking business there. And that would be up to the applicant who's doing that traffic impact study and probably bringing that back for the planner to look at some more and or, you know, show a little more on your preliminary site plan as far as fencing off or screening, if and anything that's required. Lighting, what's the lighting going to be? If you're going to have big lights on and all that kind of stuff. And this is directly to the applicant and the broker there. You know, this board has gotten burned by doing conditional, and the conditional has left out all those other items that go through a full site plan review. And then the applicant then gets stuck saying, hey, you know, you said only these two items. So my looking at it is there's a good, they brought up a good concern. You know, when they seen the picture of a long lowboy, and then they show it the proximity to the driveway of the parcels leading to the McDonald's gas station and the hardware and the medical clinic there, the truck is going to block that right in front of that ingress and egress. And, you know, that's a heavy area for traffic concerns.
Sure, but with that concern, I understand it, but those trailers, they never go out of here with loads on them. Like, most of the work is from job site to job site. So when those trailers leave, they're typically folded up, the Jeeps are stacked on them, the Stinger axles, they're not much longer than a standard semi-trailer. Once they get to site, it takes us probably 4 or 5 hours to assemble it, put the load on it, deliver it to where it has to go. Otherwise, we need to be permitted everywhere we drove with them. So the majority of our specialized trailers are set to go over the road and be the minimum length as possible.
So maybe, you know, the board might want to look at this again with some additional information from, say, MDOT and the traffic for the turning, because MDOT's got all the lights set up, so there's so many minutes, because they're looking at, a vehicle this size going through there. They already know the traffic count on Dryden Road. They know the traffic count going north on 24, south on 24. And so maybe a little bit more work on a traffic impact study with MDOT and Lapeer County Road Commission might make it easier for this board to make a decision and the planner to give it the blessing before you get too far into it. Because my understanding is, you guys have an option on that. And that's you're the broker, right?
Yes, sir.
And, it's contingent upon them. They don't want to put a lot of money into a site plan if they're not going to get approval. And they don't want to put a lot of money into a project if they're not going to buy it because they can't get approval. So we're kind of at a economic condition. And then, and this part on this township, we're in a position where we're going to have an impact with more traffic that they don't want to bottleneck and then create, well, why that ever happen? That's, no-brainer. So that's up to this board. That's the zoning administrator. My job is to look at all applicants, show them what they got, bring it to the board. The board then makes a decision with what the planner finds. The planner did their job. The applicant did their job.
I'll add another thing. We have a fire department right here. Will that impact them leaving us for a fire or response?
Good.
And also, our ambulance service here was thinking of sometime purchasing this piece of property here. So there would be an ambulance service right there too, in this area over here. So
There are 6 driveways that come off either side
yeah,
of Dryden.
it could cause a real
Yeah, it will
accident.
the question we had.
My concern is,
Plant.
we fought the gravel pits tooth and nail
Yes,
to eliminate Sunday traffic.
right, and now we're gonna have
Now
more.
we're gonna add to it, so.
Because they're not only gonna come from Lapeer Road, they're gonna come from Van Dyke as well. All the way up Dryden Road. I mean, other people talk.
Yeah. Well, have a lot of questions, and we're not gonna get many answers tonight, I can see that, so.
I guess my opinion is somewhat in the middle. I mean, I don't disagree with our planner and that on its face it does meet all the criteria for special land use permit. I do agree with Mr. Israel, frankly, that, it's not a cheap endeavor to develop a full site plan, so I can understand looking for the special land use approval prior to making that investment. But I also 100% agree with Ann that we have been burned with conditional approvals before, and I think the biggest concern, or what I would like to see the applicant provide, is at least the traffic impact study and the back and forth with MDOT and the road commission to make sure. I mean, I think a lot of other things are different to the traffic and the turning and the driveways, but I'm suspecting that many of those trucks will need to be turning left to go south on 24. That light's currently timed to allow how many cars through it. Certainly big trucks take a long time to get going. Would MDOT have to make an adjustment on the length of the green light for Dryden Road turning it? So all those things I think are important to the community and important to this board, and I would at least like to see that brought back to us next month before we made a decision.
Motion,
No, can we open it up to the public? George?
yes,
You gotta open it up to the public now.
yes. I got too many marks on it.
Yeah, I know it. I see you.
Okay, I will open the public hearing for comment. on this subject? Do you have anything?
So, hi, I'm Victor from Waivers. No, my last name. DZENOWAG, George, Sam.
Easy spell.
Thank you.
So, you're right, we fought tooth and nail on that traffic from gravel pit. We'll be fighting that. It's the right fight. And to me, the broader issue here is, it's an acceptable land use under the zoning, but is it the acceptable development for the township? Is it the right place, and is it the kind of area that we want to represent as people make the turn and come into the township? Is that what we want them to see? And personally, I don't think that's the case. We're building a beautiful subdivision, a mile and a half to the east. The village has never looked better. The townships, buildings, Andy's Market, those buildings have all cleaned up, and to put a 37,000 square foot rectangular box, forget the traffic, just from an aesthetic standpoint, I don't believe that that's the kind of development that we want for the township. Okay, take that to the side. The traffic will affect the entire township. So to talk just about this little area, it'll affect everyone. I live off of Holden Road, but I drive by here every day, and I can't imagine waiting I already wait 3 lights to get through. I can't imagine waiting 6 more for big trucks to get through, and they're trying to make a left turn, and then they're going 10 miles an hour up that hill towards Taco Bell and can't get by them, and I think that the community is going to be a tough sell for the community. I don't think it's a good sell for the community. I'm just one person, but
Anybody else have anything from the public? Yes, sir, will you give us your name?
Jeff Ryson, Ryeson.
Yeah.
So, like Vic was saying, I have a restaurant in Lapeer on M24, and I have a patio, and when big trucks go by, it's not pleasant for my patrons. He's got a beautiful patio, and in the summer, you know, these big trucks will come by occasionally, whatever, but it's just very, like he was saying, I don't think it's right for our community. When you turn down Dryden Road and you head into downtown Metamora, I live in the sub right before downtown, and I don't really want to have to deal with any more large trucks than we already do. He's got a business that he's got, you know, a lot of money invested into, and I think the last thing that you want to see is you're enjoying your dinner and have something come by and just, you know, disrupt the peacefulness of downtown Metamora. And I don't know how often these trucks will be coming by, and it's no offense to you guys, it's just, you know, it's our community, and it's Metamora has a feel about it. And I don't think that your building will go with the serenity of the area. I know it's close to F-24, and it is, you know, zoned for what you guys want to do. I just don't think it's going to fit the eye appeal and the serenity of Metamora. So that's just my opinion.
I can tell you that the communities that we are in welcome us. They've been great. We've given back to the community. Our trucks are $1 million a piece. I mean, we're not running gravel trains. These are heavy haulers. And like I said, we're on Pontiac, we're in Grand Rapids. We've got 50-some trucks. I would be hard pressed to say that there would be 15 trucks a day getting out of here. A standard 53-foot semi that's going to a job, and it might be going for 3-4 days. But I understand your guys' concern also. If we're not wanted in the community, we're fine with that also. There's a lot of places that'll take our money in our business. You know, we're not looking here to cause any waves. That's why we didn't want to invest $100,000 in going through site planning and all this other stuff. We say, no, we don't want you. If the community says, yeah, we'd like to have you guys, we think you're a good fit for the community, absolutely, we'd be a good part of it. Most of our employees are from this area. I mean, they're all from Lapeer County, northern Oakland County, so we did surveys to figure out what was the best area, what looked like the best land for us, and that's really not even the best piece, but we like this area. And like I said, if it doesn't work for the community and it doesn't seem like it's gonna work out, there's a lot of land around.
Right, I agree with what you're saying. I know you guys are a great company. You know, if it was maybe a different location, maybe farther south on 24 where you had, I don't know if there's even property for that, but you're right on 24 where you don't have to come down Dryden Road. I think that's the issue, it's Dryden Road, you know, going through downtown. I don't know how often that would be, but it's, you know, we're dealing with maybe gravel trains that we're trying to fight against. So it's just.
I understand. I mean, I live in an old house and I've got some gravel trains that run by my house and it shakes things off the windowsills. You know, so like I said, we're just here to present it. I can't say that we never go through downtown, you know, I mean, but 99% of the time we're heading to 69 or 75.
Yeah.
But
That's why we try to be upfront with everybody.
yeah, that's it. You know, I mean, we have nothing to hide.
Yeah, and
So.
we don't wanna hide anything either than have to raise cane later, or if you can't get certain things done through the state, it makes us a mess for everybody.
Absolutely.
Anybody else? I know this gentleman had his hand up. You give us your name, sir.
Mark Frank.
Mark Frank,
Yes.
and what is your address, sir?
4133 Barton Road. First of all, I want to say thank you for the planning commission, because you've already kind of made it known that you're not going to give contingent approval. I think contingent approvals are bad, because you don't have any control once you get it, right? Once you meet those things, just because the review isn't done yet, right? You have to get through the full review, and the review that was done here looks to be very light and on the surface, with a lot of the points even in, say, C, like location, size, intensity, site layout, and period of operation. The applicant replied in one sentence: we are asset based and pride ourselves on the occurrence of our equipment and professionalism of our employees. Fantastic. Now answer the question, right? So all those items were not addressed. So I think there's a lot of things, especially when we're talking gravel pit, periods of operation, was very contentious, especially when, you know, they work 24/7. There can be, you know, big trucks sitting next to McDonald's there, idling, noise factors, fumes. How are they going to feel? They're already a business. They're going to have a foothold in the community, right? So those are two points I want to make today.
Thank you. Anyone else have a
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment.
Go ahead, give us your name.
My name is Mark Zimmerman,
Okay.
and I own Marbon, which is right across from the west side of 24, 300 acre, the old Girl Scout camp.
Sir, what was your address?
Right now I'm at 3735 Mitchell, Metamora. I guess one comment I got is, yeah, trucking company in this area, not really something that I personally want to look at. You know, when you get to Cali or Cali Road, there you're looking right at a whole bunch of, I'm not sure what other kind of trailers you're gonna have. You're gonna have normal box trailers or just low boys?
Pretty much just low boys.
Just low boys. And when it says transfer, what are you transferring?
Equipment, you know, if we brought something in, say some press components, came in and we had to put them on a different trailer to get them to a different state, there's different weight restrictions, things like that, so. It was just kind of if we're transferring one item onto another trailer, so we try covering all of our bases with it.
Transfer to storage station.
Okay.
That's what, you know, if it doesn't go next week, they'll hold it, then it'll go sometime.
But it could be anything.
Or.
Yeah, that's the thing. You want to have a stipulation of just exactly how long does something sit, what is actually being transferred. The other thought I have is, isn't the Enders drain on the south end of this the property that they're talking about, which is the drain that goes under 24,
I believe there is a drain here.
goes in the lake I have, which is Sikita, which is the Girl Scouts named it, or Kelly Lake. From there it goes to Merritt Lake. And from there, does it go to Lake Metamora? So any diesel fuel, any salt, anything that comes off these trucks, if it heads to the south, gets into the water, the stream, and everybody's going to be affected downriver.
Anyone Anyone else have any comment you want to make on this? Okay.
I'd like to, George, I'd like to know what kind of storage they were referring to too.
Well, who knows? Could be something today, something different, whatever they want to move, if they have to store it, they will store it on site, my assumption. And it'll move when it's time to move, you know. Who's gonna regulate that? So, I have not closed the public hearing yet, but that's my next step. I'm gonna close the public hearing, and I'll wait for a motion from the board.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed to it?
Who seconded that motion, please?
Okay. Want to make any more recommendations?
Well, they're looking for a feel. I think they're starting to get a feel for how the community views it. I personally don't think it's conducive to the area myself, but if you're trying to get a feel for where you go from here, so.
Right, I mean, if that's, if we don't fit into the zoning ordinance with the business, that's the first question. You know, you're saying if you require a site plan with lighting, with fencing, with this, we can provide all that. We can provide the traffic study. But if the community is totally against us, we don't want to come in here and disrupt things either. So, I mean, if it's the opinion of the board that this doesn't fit the community, then we move on. That's not a problem here. I mean, our thing is, we don't want to spend a bunch of money getting everything that you guys asked for. We present it to you, we fit in the business plan, everything is legal, but the community doesn't want us here, the board says no, so now we're out this money, and it was just a waste of time when we could have moved on, so.
And
I don't disagree.
we don't want
This
to cost
is,
you money that, if it isn't gonna fit, which we're having a hard time with it, you can absolutely see that. There's a lot more questions, excuse me, that we would have to have answered before we could even consider anything, which is tough.
And look, so where we came from is, you know, where the land is located, it's a block off N24, it's perfect, ideal for us to get in and out of, but with the business owners, I understand their concerns also. So, I mean, we're not in here to cause any problems, you know, this was our business plan, we wanted to get the approval first to say, yeah, it seems like it'll fit. I mean, everything we had is top notch, our buildings are, everything else, so, I mean, I'm not concerned with that, we would have the nicest property and building and vehicles in this county, I can guarantee you that. But I understand with these other businesses, if they, you know, they don't like it and it's your guys' community, absolutely, we don't want to force ourselves on anyone.
I'll make a point right now. The rest of the community doesn't even know about this planning commission meeting tonight because of the fact that your property sits on vacant land with no neighbors adjacent to you, and under the stipulations, by the township's rule or law, if you want to say, they are only, you know,
They haven't been informed yet.
they can only send out information to the neighboring
With 300
people,
feet,
300 feet. So no one knows about this, and I can guarantee you that when they find out, this place would be full of people.
And we don't want that,
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
They
it would be
would
one day,
not, I guarantee you that, sir, only because of the issues that we've had to fight over 30-some years of fighting gravel mines, Boy Scouts, Superfund site, all these things. This community wants to have serenity, peace, and quiet, a nice rural community, and that's the way they want it. And we just moved in, well, they're still working on it, the hardware store. I'm sure they're not gonna really think too much of a trucking company next to their brand new building.
I did the hardware store, and people were very glad to hear that he was going down the street.
That's good, but not in this community, it won't be.
I'd just say that, you know, I agree, yeah, when everyone in the community, you know, finds out anything with trucking, you know, it's gonna get backlash. And, you know, I feel sorry for you guys, because I think that, honestly, it is a good spot for the most part. I think that, you know, a traffic study would need to be done as a first step. I don't think it would cause too much added traffic when you're talking no more than 15 times a day. You know, considering Dryden Road is a Class A road connecting to a state highway, there's already all kinds of traffic there, and nothing else is ever gonna change that. We have to have trucks moving equipment, moving goods. We can't pretend that trucks don't exist, obviously. You guys have a whole business centered around it. But if you have concerns of, you know, public, you know, disdain for it, say that's a, you know, pretty fair assumption.
I would think that's exactly right, Tom. I would agree. And to your credit, I mean, I see a lot of your trucks on the road. They are clean.
We wouldn't.
You guys are top notch. You guys do a tremendous business. I personally know employees of yours that are, you know, good people and work hard, and it's nothing personal whatsoever. It's just, I couldn't agree more with what Tom said. If you think, you know, it'd be an uphill battle with this community.
Which that's the thing, legally, even if we met all the requirements and legally said, yeah, that actually they fit in, if the community says, hell no, we don't want these guys around here, we don't want to be here.
Well, and ultimately,
you know, I mean, it's that simple, so.
And ultimately, that's our, at least in my opinion, my position to sit here is to represent the community and the neighbors, so.
Nobody wants to be anywhere they're not wanted.
Right.
Like I said, there's plenty of places that'll take us, we just, you know, we like the area also, I mean, most of us are from around here. So.
And I think it would be a good use for that land, considering it's been empty for its entire existence. So it's not doing anything as it currently sits. It's not field that gets planted and harvested, so it's hard.
Anything on it anyway.
Well, that's my point. What else are we ever gonna let anyone do?
He's got so much stuff.
What else are we ever gonna let anyone do with
They
it?
wanted to put, like a nursing group.
I know, and that fell through.
Yeah.
It's just, it's hard when you see someone wants to invest in it, and it's, ends up having problems.
Okay, kind of move along. Excuse me. We want to make another motion to
You can make a decision.
table or make a decision right now.
So can I address the board, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we looked at the township, Dave Best, supervisor, and we had the planner look at it. So at the end of the day today, planner recommends that if they provide a traffic statement, impact study, and MDOT review, you know, maybe MDOT says, hell yeah, we'll put a turn lane, a deceleration lane, acceleration lane off M24 and open their arms it, then they still have a shot or a chance to meet the site plan requirements. So again, our planner wants impact study, MDOT review, and a Lapeer County review. And I think if you consider that they want to make an investment in this community, and if they can overcome that hurdles, then we should look at it again with a site plan that would show screening, the lighting, and everything else the ordinance requires. You know, the biggest thing is that traffic impact study. And there's no question Dryden Road right there is congested, you know, enough.
Okay, I mean, I just don't want to blow it out of the water, and it's not what we like to do, but I don't want to give them any false hope. But they want to keep fighting the fight, or
I don't think they need to. I mean, you know, if the community, you guys represent the community, if they're that dead set against it, we're not gonna waste our time and money and efforts on fighting something that, you know.
that's our goal, to make it as easy on you as we can. We
Also
don't
on the community.
have you got PO, but we're trying to tell you the damn truth.
Right.
I just think the simplest thing, we have to put the ball back in his court today, and I think that's a simple motion to table the SLU tonight, you know, pending their decision on providing a site plan and a traffic impact study. And they can make that call if they wanna move forward with that or not. I think we gave them the feedback that he's looking for. So is that all right?
That's exactly what.
Well, I'll make a motion to table the SLU, the special land use review for Lee Transportation until which time, we are provided with a site plan and a traffic impact study if the applicant so chooses to move forward with that.
Oh, yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Go ahead, I'll support that.
Okay,
That's what I was
made,
gonna ask for,
second.
table.
have a roll call vote.
A roll call vote, Dan Miller,
Yes.
Tom Wise,
Yes.
Ann Derderian,
Yes,
Nick Holden,
Yes.
Lance Gould,
Yes.
George Nash.
Okay, now we have another special land use and site review. Mike, Metamora, special land use and also a, site plan review. Well, that's the problem, the public knows nothing about what's going to go on, because they've never been informed, which to me, they should be informed.
Corey Baker, Davis Land Survey, and I'm here representing the owners of Mikey's, and basically what we're proposing is a special land use for outdoor storage and retail, which involves self-storage towards the back of the parcel in the back here, and then the landscape type material business where it's up towards the front. There's also be some minor summerscape type things, like summer chairs, tables that can store kind of outside under the awning, but out of the weather. Other than that, we did submit an initial site plan. Rural Professional Services did review that. They came back with comments, and they were generous enough to give us time to try and address those comments. So the site plan you have in front of you here is the second version, where we addressed the items in Rose's initial letter. And I think going through that letter, for second review, which I think we have, there were two items I'd like to just touch on that could have been an oversight on my part. I think we may have addressed it, but we're not talking the same language maybe. Item number 25, where it says where large equipment, this would be on page 2 of the January 7th letter. It says where large equipment machinery is being installed as part of the development of location type horsepower fuel, dimension, noise, vibration, emission levels, and other data of all such equipment and machinery. And their comment is what is expected regular usage of large equipment or machinery on site? How will landscaping material be loaded on site? This is not addressed. So what we did do is we added the equipment here, not only as a front end loader, the typical trucks for loading, and then just some of the log splitting equipment. But one thing that was omitted on there is a skid steer, just something smaller to use, and that's what they would use to load the equipment. There isn't any, I'll be honest, I don't know the horsepower, emissions, noise, vibration of that equipment. But that's what it is. It's one of each. It's small at the end of the day, it's back up here, nothing's kept up in the front. I'd be willing to answer any questions on that. That might have been something where I thought I addressed it by putting it on here versus doing a deeper explanation to it. The other one I was looking is under zoning ordinance compliance, which is page 3. It's section 1522 of the sign regulations. And we added some more details to understand this graphic didn't come through too well. We did add the dimensional items on there, and it's intended crate signs. It appeared there's a lot in this area, and then ones that came up with the signs and the signage to make sure it meets the ordinance. The one comment is, what's the method of connection to the structure? Typically we don't, and that's an oversight on my part, we don't include that on site planning. That is something that typically done when they pull the actual sign permit through the building department. So if that's something, obviously we can do that with just standard attachment to the building itself. That's really not my forte. Crate signs usually includes all the details for that in the actual permit application. And understanding that we still have to get the actual permit. This is strictly special land use and site plan. So I can go, since Rose is not here, I can go through the letter with you and address, or explain how we addressed each item. I think they did a good job explaining it in the follow-up letter.
Well, your explanations are in the red, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that was Rose change or explanation to what we did. Yeah. So the items that were crossed off are the ones that we addressed. And then they did a follow-up in red.
Well, my observance, or in what I can understand, was fairly well straightforward, in my opinion. Anyone have any questions on it?
One issue is, with the, proposed millings or whatever, looks like a pretty big area there. What are we doing as far as drainage?
This area all falls back and it goes into their own area in the back. There's that low depression. I don't know if you've been out there, but where the tree line starts, that drops off onto their own property. So what the idea is, this is going to filter through all that grass area and continue where it has been. There wasn't any additional, we could put a small stone berm up, something like that to funnel it, but it's really not going to be a significant change off the property. There's approximately 200 to 225 feet till you actually get past off of their property. So the intent is just to sheet flow back through this end of the property and then the east end.
Yeah, it's just, even the shed people, when they did their site or whatever, they have a retention pond, just for that little area, so, maybe, something for drainage would be the, key thing. Cause you're gonna burn to the residential side then, or?
No, to this side, really we're not proposing changing the elevation at all. It all kind of goes that way right now. So the idea was that this is all, be very limited, just kind of put in the millings and keep following existing contours. To the residential side, we're putting evergreens along the north property line. And then so this doesn't show up on here, but it shows on your plan, then maintaining all the existing vegetation on the north side of the building and adding a few more trees between the home and 24.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Corey, isn't that where you're saying for the millings, it's existing gravel now, you're just saying you're just gonna cap it with millings to clean it up?
There's gonna be some cleaning. This doesn't really show on here, the material. This is all existing gravel here. You can kind of see the lines underneath of it.
Mm-hmm.
So there is area in here that is not, we'll tell you, it's gonna be kind of cleaned up, squared up, so there'll be some more surface. But yes, there is existing gravel out there currently.
Yeah, the only other comments I'll make specific to the noise or vibrations or equipment is pretty familiar with the site, and I believe I'm correct in saying that the applicant is the one that lives on the site or just to the north of the site. And there is no residence directly south of that. you know.
Or
They're
commercial,
not affected.
commercial.
Yeah.
It's all commercial and storage.
Commercial, so I guess I don't see any conflict there with noise or
Yeah, right.
vibration or anything. In fact, I mean, just past to the north, there's a dog kennel, right? That'd be allowed,
Probably
Yeah.
makes more noise.
so.
I couldn't see anything real bad with anything, it looks good. Pretty plain, clear.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may, when I spoke with Noah, the concerns that Mr. Mayberry brought up were adequately addressed. Noah communicated that to me, skid steer, and he brought the skid steer up, so that's not much noise or vibration. And the other one he brought up was the signage. And so, obviously, what we did with our sign ordinance, and it took us a long time, and we did do a lot of effort on that, and I'm glad we did. And that's why we're bringing the signs into the planning commission now, so that we know going forward what that signage is, and then when they come in to get a building permit for that sign, we don't have to come back to the planning commission to do that. So we cleaned it up for our constituents, residents, and any business owners that come in here. And the building department would catch that acreage on that.
Clear.
Yes,
Clear.
more clarity.
Yeah.
So the owners are here, the crews are here also,
Yeah.
answer any questions.
Just, we have an existing road sign, is that okay that we replace the road sign that we have with the new sign?
As long as you get a sign permit and it meets the requirements of the new sign ordinance, you absolutely can replace it.
Okay, so we have to get, if we're using the same structure and just replace it.
Go through the permitting process.
That sound good to you, Joe?
Yeah, I looked at their site plan here and I highlighted it already. It says existing pedestal sign to remain. So, that means you're approved for what you have there. If you want to reface it and something of that nature, then you just need to get the permit. So the location of your sign, when you brought up that, you want to change that road sign,
Yeah,
right there it says existing. So when you say change, you'd have to go over with your.
We're talking about the facing.
The
Right,
face.
just the face is not relocating
Yeah, we're
it.
not redoing the
Yeah,
site.
and we're making it larger and lighted and all that.
If you change any aspect, larger, taller, bigger, different, well, then it would be a different animal, it's just talking about refacing it.
Yep,
it's
In
okay.
that location.
yep, the existing one's noted and that would be good for that.
You have to make it bigger than you gotta resubmit.
And after our number A here, is there any letters, comments, emails?
Text.
With the.
None.
Yeah, Mikey, the Metamora, no public comment, which,
That's.
okay, yeah. Any comment from the public? They're changing our format a little bit, it's a little bit.
It's there.
I don't see anyone.
So you opened it to the public and there's no comment?
No comment.
Okay. So then we're gonna close it.
So, we'll close the public comment. Now, I guess we better, take a look at this, special land use, or site plan review. Got so many notes on it. Do you have anything on that, Joe?
Nope, other than what I already addressed for the commission to make a decision. The Rose report is right here. If you go through any of that, there's nothing that flags it. One thing I'd like to bring up is the applicant stated that there's going to probably be less traffic in and out of that site than what it was in church. So, the traffic impact on that is not quite like the first one that we were going through at all.
Well, and also it has ingress and egress right on M24 as opposed to a county road, which is.
And it's a commercial approach, and, MDOT already approved that. So, that's a good for the applicants and our community.
good in and out. Okay. Somebody give me a motion,
Make a motion to recommend to the township board the approval of the special land use in the site plan review for Mikey's and Metamora.
Motion made, get a second?
Support.
Okay, roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Dan Miller,
Yes.
Tom Wise,
Yes.
Ann Derderian,
Yes.
Nick Holden,
Yes.
Lance Gould,
Yes.
George Nash.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All that, okay, on that, that's why we have the special plan review. I was asking you if you had anything on that,
Joe was still talking about Mikey's.
yeah.
Is that a question for me? I'm sorry, I was back in.
No,
I was at-
no, you're good.
You're good.
And I'd like to add too on this, that, working with Ben, I haven't worked with Noah, but working with Ben was very smooth, he got back very timely. And so I work with all the communities, he does a good job. I think it makes our job, my job as a designer, easier, because it gets back timely, we have time to address these items, so we're not coming back meeting after meeting, so I do appreciate that. Good to hear.
Yeah, we like that too, because
Yeah.
we don't have to keep dealing with it.
Joe, for clarity, are we doing the special land, we just did the motion on the special land use. What about the site plan review?
I included both in the motion.
Both?
Yeah, the motion had both of them
Very
on
good.
there.
Well, when they fill this agenda sheet, okay, what else did we have in the top?
We got number C,
We're in new business.
New
new
business.
business.
Here, you wanna look at mine?
Oh, yeah, new
He's got
business.
so many notes on that thing. Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and this
Okay, we're on the new business.
We added him under.
there it is.
Yeah, we did.
Alright,
New business.
New business,
under B.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
yeah.
So the next thing,
Memorandum for,
the next thing is this.
Yikes.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah, see, he's still got on this very good. Tommy's got it all upstairs.
it's a mess.
Oh. Special,
It's just a transfer, right?
yeah,
Yes,
transfer of the, special land use.
but you got
Okay, that's what we're calling, or we doing the report? You doing your annual report first, or we already did that?
No, we gotta do,
That's me.
yeah,
We're
okay.
gonna postpone that annual.
We're postponing.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, if I can report on the special land use renewal. This location was done approximately 4 years ago, and it was approved through a special land use for sales, automotive and vehicles, and rentals. So I went through everything that was previously approved through the planning commission meeting minute notes. The new owner is doing basically the same exact thing with trailers, sales, which is a vehicle, and then he's going to do used vehicles, cars, and trucks. On my review, everything that was already previously granted is the same use that this applicant's doing. So I found no issues whatsoever.
So actually, we're just changing names.
Right, we're gonna renew the same one that was already granted, same business, new owner, a new operator, and it should be,
Mr. Posey here,
the applicant's here, so you can ask them anything you'd like.
would you, give us your name, good address, and if you wanna make any comments?
Steve Posey, P-O-S-E-Y, 4849 Metamora Road. And I'd be doing similar to what Mr. Kramer did with trailer sales and rental and potentially vehicle sales in the future.
Commission.
Yeah, I don't see any reason not to change it. As long as and you've got to accept everything that comes with the special land use. Which you're aware of. Yes.
I went through all of that with them, and
Yeah.
we walked through it before he decided that he was gonna pull the trigger on that one, and this is a simple one.
Yeah.
And it's still under the same, guidelines and.
Ingress, egress, access, private
Nothing
agreement.
changes besides ownership, though.
Correct.
Certainly, that's how our ordinance reads, that if there's transfer of ownership, they still have to come in here.
Yeah.
So first you have to have the SLU transfer, correct? So I'll make a motion to,
Included in the same one.
no, they said two
different ones?
motions, two different ones, right?
For what?
For this land use.
Not the transfer.
Oh,
Yeah, this is a simple
so it
change.
can be done in one,
Simple transfer.
okay.
Just a transfer.
I'll make a motion, to transfer the SLU located at 3716 South Woodfield Road. It's a special land use transfer, nothing added, nothing taken away, just that.
I mean, that's, of course, we didn't get this paperwork until tonight.
It is a late agenda item,
I
but
know.
simple one.
It is simple.
Oh, and I should have had special land use permit too, in there,
Still a POA.
yeah.
Okay.
Somebody gonna support
You
me.
made the motion, Ann.
I did.
We're waiting till you're done.
Yeah,
All right. Let's have another roll call vote, please.
This is a roll call vote. Dan Miller,
Yes.
Tom Wise,
Yes.
Ann Derderian,
yes.
Nick Holden,
Yes.
Lance Gould,
Yes.
George Nash.
Yes. Now, we don't have township planners report. I don't think we need to discuss much more.
I'd like to add something that I talked to the planner about. Since we can't send out notices to people.
Yeah, potential.
Other communities have signs in front of a property that possibly might be either rezoned or modified, a special use. And it has a phone number, and it doesn't go into details, but if somebody's interested, they can call and get the information from it. I'd like to put that as, I don't know if that's just, we do it through the board or a recommendation from here, but I would like to do that from now on because people don't know.
Well, and exactly correct what you're saying. If people around know about what was allowed to go in.
Oh,
This place, we
Would
would
have
have
been
moved it, we wouldn't have had enough room.
no, we wouldn't have. I guarantee you, that's what I said.
Yeah, we've been there before. We've had to
Nobody
move.
knew
Yes.
that this was,
I didn't
to
quite
occur.
like the way that the planner set that up,
yeah.
but they're not here.
Well, and the other thing is, there's so much talk in other townships, specifically Washington Township, with the AI data centers taking up space in farmland and, empty places like that one. I would like to, well, you can't ban it, but you can put a moratorium for a year while we work on a special ordinance to be able to address those issues. And I'd like to put that as homework assignment for our planner.
So I think that's all fine and good, and I see that in many other communities. And it's just an informational sign, and it'll say this property is gonna be rezoned, or this property is gonna be a horse arena, or
Yeah.
whatever it's gonna be, and it just lets everybody know, and has contact information,
Yes,
or even the date of a public hearing.
right,
Because a public hearing is all of our constituents and residents, and if it is gonna affect them, they need to know,
they need to
you know,
know,
other than putting it on Facebook today, or
because they might not
bookmark,
look
or whatever else they got out there. That's the old fashioned way, and that would be really good that the planning commission comes up with, you know, that language or that sign, and then propose it to the township board for approval.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they're
Oh, yeah.
they're the boss.
at. Yeah, but I would like to do that.
And I don't have a problem with it. I think, you know, the more information we get to people to make a really good, honest, dedicated decision.
Transparent.
Yeah, and the transparency on it.
Yeah, they don't wanna know the impact when it's moving in next door.
Right,
I mean, that,
and it's happened before here, and, you know,
it goes.
let's not keep repeating it.
So that'd be something for you board members to do, not the zoning administrator.
Also, it could go the other way as well. There may be a thing where if you have a sign out, then there may be a bunch of people calling for it that can tap this place.
Well,
you know,
true.
Yeah,
I mean, at least you'll get an honest,
no, of course, that's what I'm
you'll
saying.
get an honest opinion from the community,
Yep.
because it affects the community.
Your community.
Yes,
There was nothing. The folks on these businesses, they never knew what potential to go in there, and
No.
hey, it doesn't fit for them, it doesn't fit for us, then it shouldn't be here. Period.
well, I think it's in the wrong spot.
Oh, absolutely. There's,
The real
It's
question
gonna
was,
look,
Tommy brought up, though, what goes in there?
Well, we have to consider, are we really acting in the best interest of our community, or are we just preventing anything from ever changing? And you say, you know, we have to act in the best interest of our community and think about the community. We also need to consider someone willing to invest. And I'm not saying this was the right thing. Clearly it wasn't, and I'm fine with that. I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
But I think we should also consider people that are willing to invest hundreds, millions of dollars. They are then now part of our community as well, the same as the people that showed up here tonight.
Well, and I'll take that a step farther. I mean, and we did take a long time getting the sign thing, you know, taken care of, but the way it's written and as it was talked about tonight, I mean, the idea that a potential investor in a piece of property has to come in and ask for a special land use for what they're trying to do, and at the same time required to submit a full site plan, which he's not wrong. I mean, that's a major economic, you know, so you're sitting there saying, well, do I wanna buy this piece of property? I don't know if I can do that yet. I have to go ask the board for an SLU.
yeah,
And then they're gonna have me do a site plan that I gotta spend $100,000 on and bet on if they're gonna, the what if.
mhm.
You know, and that's,
Really unfortunate.
you know, I just think, and I would look, you know, this isn't a tonight thing, but a homework thing or further discussion with the planner who works in other communities and even Mr. Israel of, you know, is there a better way to approach that? Is there a better way for a potential investor in the community who wants to do something to be granted an SLU and, you know, at least get through that initial hurdle before having to be required to submit a full site plan, because it, you know, it's quite an investment.
It doesn't work that way in the city. Like, if you wanna do something down in Troy or something, you wanna build, you know, community subdivision, you have to have everything
Everything.
set and done.
Yeah,
and written.
absolutely, or they
And
won't.
then, and take it to them, and they can still say no.
No, yeah,
So you have to spend the money.
yeah,
So there's no,
Yeah, but is the question different though, because it's
and
Troy versus Metamora?
this is lead truck and lead industrial.
As far- I'm not sure.
affiliated, lead.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
So-
I'm just saying,
so they're multi-bazillion-dollar companies.
I'm just saying either way though, I hear that point big time,
Yeah.
but I also hear Dan saying, you don't wanna just drive every single person that's willing to potentially invest in the community and say, here's 52 roadblocks, well, if you guys can deal with them, then you can.
no, what it is,
Yeah.
it's just like the arms seal, you know, how can I say it? The gun dealer, he wanted to have it someplace else, and we we actually suggested that he goes up on M24, which is a better place for his, it's a better fit for him. So we weren't denying that he shouldn't do it, it's just find a spot that he can. Okay, this trucking firm might not find a piece of property here.
They got a bunch of stuff right down.
Yeah,
Between
in
between us and Oxford.
Yes,
on 24.
Oxford.
It's all, that's all like an industrial
Yeah.
area,
Yeah.
all the big trucks, that's
Do
perfect.
we want our front, the entrance to our community?
We represent
looking
the
like that?
residents, I know our residents don't want.
No, they surely don't.
Well, we only lost 6 months last year, we didn't have a thing to do. I mean,
Well, that's true.
I mean,
well,
it kinda gets a little bit aggravating to me.
Well,
And then you
we're
try
just
to jam everything into one night, I'm not wild about that, because we don't get to talk about
no, and this is a bedroom community. It's not a, you know, it's not gonna be a Troy or, you know, one of those big cities where they have to provide a huge amount of things for the community. Because each person has their own individual properties and they enjoy it and they let you know when they don't like something. Believe me, they do.
I just want to add, I think, if anything, what makes this situation really tough is, according to the planner's report, I believe they qualified for like 85% of, or 90% of what that property is zoned for. You know, so
Yeah,
if
yeah,
it was say a bunch of residential houses and
Maybe
everything.
we should look at that stipulation in there and maybe not
Well, no,
not
I mean,
encourage
that's
that
some-
in
well, that's
some
something to
kind
think
of an area.
Because if somebody can come in there and say, well, we qualify for every single thing.
Yes.
Then, you know, just
You
because
could put a dump there.
12 residents or whatever don't like it,
Yeah,
you know, so then you get, you know, between a rock and a hard
Yeah.
place.
If they wanted to put a hospital down by Independence, they denied.
yeah.
It was suited for the use, they
Uh-huh.
don't
Yeah.
want it in their community,
Yeah.
still don't have to have it.
So.
Oh, yeah.
It just doesn't matter if they agree with their, you know.
Yeah. It makes sense or not.
Yeah.
So Ann, do you wanna be in charge of that design for that sign that we could propose?
Sure, if it's
Me?
Yes.
Or, I think you said Craig's sign up in Lapeer does it too or
Oh.
something.
You can come up
Yeah.
with some verbiage.
I could come up with verbiage,
it.
yeah.
Well, I really just like this tonight on the potential storage thing. I hate for the guy to spend his money and find out, I really can't do it. I can't meet all the requirements. And I'm just telling the truth up front.
Yep.
Well,
Well, I think you were about as honest as you could be.
Well,
And then I believe the board put it back on him to either continue maybe wanting to push forward with it or say,
yeah.
you know, I got a feel for the community and, you know.
I stated my.
Well, no, correct.
We got one.
Business driveways that
Yeah.
we never got to hear from
I think
people.
Dan said, I think you got the answer to mine and George says, we're trying to make it pretty clear in, you know, so many words, so.
So, I mean,
That's basically.
I hate to be blunt, sometimes that's what it takes.
No, quite honestly, on that parcel, if they had access to the state highway, you know, they would probably be okay with the screening and whatever else. But to come through this Dryden Road that's already way too small to handle the traffic it is.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Why it would be different.
Right.
Oh, no, I'm not saying I disagree.
And maybe, you know, Lee Industrial, Lee Trucking is large enough of a state firm that when they reach out to NDOT, NDOT will say, yes, we're gonna widen this now. You know, who knows?
Double the size.
Okay, anybody have anything else?
Yeah, I have one more motion.
Yes.
I said.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, yeah.
Right second. Dan made the motion to.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.
Oh, my.
Thank you all for coming out too in this inclement weather.
Yeah, we can make it.
Thank goodness George doesn't drive a
I
mile.
think we need a different planner.
Open this in front of me.
So here's the other thing.
That's fine.
That can make it to the meeting.
He's not there.
So I did talk to Ben earlier today, and Ben is gonna be coming back to be our guy, so.
Good.
Tell him if he wants to be a planner, Metamora, he needs 4-wheel drive.
Pretty much anywhere in Michigan.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Keep the community rolling, guys.
Oh, yeah. You know it, that's how it works, right?
Thank you, board, for your support on all of
Mr. Posey, I'm glad you made it out, you've come a long way.
I had 4 weeks off.
Oh, yeah, right on.
No, so they got really distracted there. Because they immediately went into trucking.
He's getting his license.
Yeah, because they started talking about signs and then, so did they. Take care. Huh? Yeah?
Sorry, can't solve it. See me and, the sign and paperwork to get your state license.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, you bet.
See you around.
I didn't take
I heard today, Michigan Home Builders. Due to costs and probably a little bit less. However, the gas prices come down, and especially low gas prices, the economy